Donald Trump also spoke at the Conservative Political Action Conference, and it was unhinged as ever, as you'll see as we walk through these clips. But we'll start off with one theme we actually saw in multiple speeches throughout this event. Anti-Fox News rhetoric was kind of what was more present here than you would expect, because Fox News is still just a bunch of propaganda for many of these same individuals. But I think part of this is they're not completely fully on board, even though they're still on board, but not as on board with Trump as they used to be. And they also are giving a lot of positive publicity to DeSantis. For example, that could be part of this. And then also, I think the Dominion lawsuit is making individuals such as Trump and his supporters angry in a backwards way, though, because the Dominion lawsuit is revealing that Fox News hosts don't believe the things they're saying on air about the election being stolen. And Rupert Murdoch, the chair of Fox Corporation, recognizes that Trump is indeed lying, and many of the Fox hosts are indeed lying. And so that's making Trump and others mad at Fox News for holding the belief that the election wasn't stolen. Does that make sense? Rather than recognizing the reason they shouldn't like Fox News is because, yes, they're lying on the behalf of the right wing, but they shouldn't be lying in the first place, which is the bad part, which is why you should be mad at Fox News. But they're kind of mad for the opposite reason. So here's a little bit of that.
Workout not too good. And we actually, and I have to say this, I hope Fox doesn't turn off, but we did much better in 2020 than we did in 2016. Much better.
If by did better he means got more votes, true, but he got less votes than Biden, which is how elections work, and the Electoral College also, he got less than Biden. So it doesn't really matter that you beat your own personal record if the person you're running against is able to defeat you. Then another batch of lies about the election.
The disinformation, people say they are great at disinformation. The one we want to run against is Trump. Do you ever hear that? Oh, we want to run against Trump. Even though I'm leading every one of these guys, and even though I won the second election, okay, I won it by a lot. You know, when they say Biden won, the smart people know that, didn't they? But right now,
seem to be redefining the word smart if he's saying the smart people know that reality isn't reality, I guess. And saying, you know, those people who say the stupid phrase of, quote, Biden won, just recognizing what actually happened. Okay. Then, pretty vile moment here.
Oh, amazing. What the hell did you get me into? I didn't know the word subpoena. I didn't know the word grand jury, those words, grand jury. I didn't know that they want to lynch you for doing nothing wrong. I didn't know they want to lynch you for doing a great job. I didn't know they want to put you away because your poll numbers are better than anybody they've seen in years.
So, comparing his experience to being lynched, I guess there. Also admitting he didn't know what grand jury meant and subpoena. Is that what he was saying? Huh. Then, to lighten up the mood a little bit after that clip, here's him messing up when saying United States.
The racist Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, who is presiding over one of the most dangerous and violent cities in the United States. You have to see this, the United States.
Watch that one part again, and y'all know, we only watch this, like I said, to lighten the mood, not because I'm huge on thinking it's a sign of a lack of intelligence to mess up on your words, because as someone who talks for a very long time every single day on the show, I recognize it can be quite embarrassing sometimes when you slip up on the words, and that's a bummer. But it's always funny seeing how Trump reacts to his own little mess ups. Here you'll notice he immediately looks at the crowd, United States, and then looks right at the crowd.
Dangerous and violent cities in the United States. You have to see this, United States.
Look right at the crowd. I messed that up, didn't I? That didn't sound right. Which, again, I honestly, as far as parts of Trump's speeches, those are the parts where he seems the most human, because I actually relate to kind of the moment where you don't even know exactly what you did wrong with what you said, but you know it felt kind of incorrect coming out your mouth. Then we get to him saying he is the audience's retribution.
In 2016, I declared, I am your voice. Today I add, I am your warrior. I am your justice. And for those who have been wronged and betrayed, I am your retribution. I am your retribution.
So I do think if Trump won the 2024 election, which hopefully will not happen, but if he did, I do think his presidency will be one of retribution. He's going to try to get back at all of the people he thinks wronged him and carry out a pretty disturbing agenda based on just a bunch of grudges he has, which would be terrible. Then next moment here.
Thank you. At the top of my list, we'll be stopping the slide into costly and never-ending wars. We've got to stop it. Can't keep spending hundreds of billions of dollars protecting people that don't even like us. Now, you know, in business, if you did that, what you do is you put up the money and then you say, but listen, we own half your country in case you win. You know, you take a piece.
So I assume, since he's using such a big figure, hundreds of billions of dollars, he's referencing Ukraine. And the proposal, I guess, is we should say, hey, Ukraine will defend you, but if you win, as he said, we get half your country. Kind of incoherent, but that's what I gathered from that. Then just making an incorrect statement here.
And I will save your jobs. We had the greatest job history of any president ever. I will create a true national trade policy
So if he's referencing job growth, because he's running against, or right now he's in the primary, but then would run against President Biden likely, he should recognize that's not a factual statement because Biden has had so much more job growth under his presidency than Trump did, but whatever, make things up. Then, okay, before we watch this one, I want to read it off of the, actually as he said it, but whenever he says things, because his voice is so Trumpy, you kind of forget how incoherent some of what he says is. So take a look at this. We have oil and gas, but we don't want the oil and gas cars, but we want everything including electric cars, but we also want gasoline because the cars go longer. One more time and then we'll watch him say it. We have oil and gas, but we don't want the oil and gas cars, but we want everything including electric cars, but we also want gasoline because the cars go longer. Now, I'm not reading the script of a second grader. This is a former president.
We have oil and gas, but we don't want the oil and gas cars. But we want everything, including electric cars, but we also want gasoline because the cars go longer and they're preferred by many people.
I mean, you have some of the greatest speakers in the history of America. And then you have Trump, who just crushes all of them with his absolute stunning, impactful speaking style. Then he seems to be supporting something that Biden is pushing for.
Challenge the governors of all 50 states, all 50 states to join me in a great beautification campaign. We will rename our schools and boulevards, not after communists, but after great American patriots. We will get rid of bad and ugly buildings and return to the magnificent classical style of Western civilization. We will support baby boomers, and we will support baby bonuses for a new baby boom. How does that sound? That sounds pretty. I want a baby boom.
So referencing a baby bonus, which sounds a whole lot like the child tax credit that Biden had implemented and wants to make permanent. Unfortunately, it is being obstructed and is not permanent at this point in time, but it was something during the COVID era that was very much beneficial, and I do think there should be that increased child's tax credit, there are my word mess ups, for parents. It is so crucial, and in a time when we would like to incentivize having children, taking a little bit off of the economic burden would be absolutely wonderful. So he's not going to frame it as a compliment of a Biden policy, but he is definitely supporting it in effect. And he referenced infrastructure type stuff, which is funny because he, of course, talked all about infrastructure whenever he was running for president and while he was president. And infrastructure was just going to be 2 weeks away. He was going to have a big, beautiful infrastructure bill. It never happened. Biden actually was able to get a bipartisan infrastructure bill through, a massive investment in American infrastructure. And then here is the results of the straw poll, the CPAC straw poll, showing the audience very much favors Trump in 2024.
Choice. Who's going to be your choice in the straw poll ballot? This was you, over 2,000 of you. All right. There goes the technology. The numbers kind of speak for themselves. 62-20 over Ron DeSantis. President Trump gets 62%, so.
There it is. As I mentioned earlier in the show, make sure to be subscribed to the YouTube channel.